Hello everyone! Today we will backtrack and open up a box of Duel decks Anthology. I already had all the decks separate. I bought them all when they came out, and I didn't have this one yet, and the numbering is all different, the layout is different. So I thought to myself, let's consider it a whole new set. So I'll open it up. It's a bit too big to fit on the camera, so yeah, I'm opening up the plastic right now. Yeah, so all these are fixed, as a matter of fact. Oh, look. The back sheet came loose, so that's good. So what's in here? Duel decks, Elves versus Goblins. Duel decks, Jace versus Chandra. Duel decks, Divine versus Demonic. And Duel decks, Garuk versus Liliana. So, there are 8 ready-to-play 60-card Magic decks. Alright, blah blah blah. Replay the original duels or mix and match. The decks include 35 tokens and are housed in a premium box with 2 spin-down life counters. Right, very exciting. Never seen the contents of the box, so this is the first time for me. Oh, that's actually quite a nice box. If you guys can see it, there's place for 8 decks, and we have 2 dice. Let's take a look at the dice first. Let's focus. Alright, so it's a bit of a grayish, shiny, glittering die. And the other one is, yeah, the exact opposite. Blue and glittering. Silver letters. Alright, so the 2 dice aside, let's take a look at the decks and start off with the beginning. Elves versus Goblins. So even the deck boxes are foil, so is the box. I really like this box. It's a very beautiful box, very clean, very neat. And as you can see here, the deck box is filled up with a bit of cardboard, so you can sleeve your deck and still put it in there. That's actually very thoughtful. Alright, so the first deck. We start off with an Ambush Commander. It's a 5 mana elf, 2/2. Forests you control are 1/1 green elf creatures that are still lands. And for 2 you can sacrifice an elf and target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Right, not going through all the cards over here, but look at them in all their glory. And as you can see, the numbering is still the original numbering from the olden days, but it's the new framework. The new framework that I used starting with M15. So we get the tokens. No, they're not double-sided, so these are just one-sided tokens. Oh, we have some goblins over here. Silly that they put goblins in an elf deck. Alright. Harbinger. This has been such a long time ago. I believe these decks came out in 2008. It was the first one that I got. Obviously, I got them the week it released back then. I really love these decks. I used to use these 2 decks as a basis for all my Goblin and Elves there and Elf decks. Especially since Commander wasn't a thing back then. Just played Extended. I don't believe Modern even existed back then. And I can remember playing an Extended Elf deck. Oh, it's such a long time ago. Right, so that is deck number 1. Oh. You go back in the big box. And now for the second one. The Goblin deck. Ah, see, it's a bit more filled up because the other one had the Goblin tokens. So we shouldn't be expecting the Goblin tokens in here. Oh. Yeah, so before these dual decks, there were actually a lot of older decks. Oh. They were also considered dual decks, but they weren't called that way. I mean, Anthologies back in 98, and we had Battle Royale in 99, Beatdown 2000, Deckmasters in 2001, and then they just suddenly quit and it re-emerged in 2008 with this Elves versus Goblins. So the first one is Siege Gang Commander for the Goblin deck. It is 5 mana, it's a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, put 3 1/1 red Goblin tokens onto the battlefield. If you pay 2, sacrifice a Goblin. Siege Gang Commander deals 2 damage to target creature or player. And then, of course, all the Goblins that follow. Goblin Matron. Ah, yeah. War Chief. Mock Fanatic. Great, great, great cards. A great time of Magic. And a lot of mountains. Right, so that was actually the very first dual decks. Now let's continue with the second product, which was Jace versus Chandra. There's actually a limited release, re-release from this one with 2 altered cards. And I'm of course talking about the 2 Planeswalkers. In Japan there were variations of Jace and Chandra in an anime version. A bit of a manga look. Yes. So, first the Jace deck. We have Jace Beleren, of course. The very first Jace ever printed. It was 3 mana, 3 loyalty. It's +2 ability. Each player draws a card and -1. Target player draws a card. His -10 ability was target player puts the top 20 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. I used to play this card so much. Really. I love this card. And of course Ancestral Vision. Yes. This card has spiked. I don't know when. I don't know why. But it has spiked. It used to be around €4 or something. And now it is up to €35. This card is just... wow. It has a spend 4 for only 1 blue mana. And when it resolves, target player draws 3 cards. I don't know. Is there some kind of a deck that plays 4 of those? I don't know. Still. And it is from one of my favorite sets, Time Spiral. Why is it one of my favorite sets? Well, because Dominaria was featured in that block. And I simply love Dominaria. Yeah, I'm going to take the cardboard out because I cannot put the cards back in there properly. Right, so that's that. And then the Chandra deck. I know of instances where this deck came out in the original time, where there were only 60 Chandras. And you didn't get the actual deck. Just 60 Chandras. Imagine that. Opening a box and you only have Chandras. Yeah, that's a bit silly. Still, you can sell them and make a huge profit. Of course. And then get the actual deck again. So, we have Chandra Nalaar. The very first Chandra ever printed. It is 5 mana. 6 loyalty. The +1 ability is Chandra Nalaar deals 1 damage to target player. And -X, it deals X damage to target creature. And -8, it deals 10 damage to target creature and each creature he or she controls. Yeah, that's awesome. Tokens. And of course, this deck revolves around red. Even with some cool new art with Chandra on it. Yeah, back then they... oh, nice! Actually, 2 Fire Blasts. I actually needed one of these to finish my playset. Now I have a playset. Oh, that's just great. Now I can start playing Legacy. Haha, Legacy burn deck. Very cool. Alright, so yeah, that's it for the Chandra and Jace deck. Next up we have Divine versus Demonic. This was also a very unusual duel deck, because it was actually the first duel deck that was printed with a very, very popular card that we'll see in a moment, which actually retained quite some value and has never been printed again. Alright, open it up. So the first card we see is Akroma, the Angel of Wrath, which is actually a very iconic card. This card, well, this creature, Akroma, it's actually an artificially made angel. It is created by Ixidor, the Morph Master. He created it to look like his wife, and so he would never be lonely again, because she was dead at that time. Right, but as you can imagine, didn't really work out that way. So, Akroma, Angel of Wrath, 8 mana, 6/6, flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, protection from black and red. Oh, I used to play this card so many times when I was still attending school. Back in 2000 and what was it, 2? When this card came out for the first time? I don't know. It was insane to have this card on the battlefield and yeah, just win the game. It won games, especially because my friends were playing red and black decks, so that was crazy. Crazy times. Right, another Akroma art. And a lot of planes. And of course the card which I was referring to is in the black deck. The Demonic deck. Its poster boy is Lord of the Pit. Very cool and old card. Very iconic for black back in the days. It's a 7 mana demon, 7/7. It has flying and trample, and at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature other than Lord of the Pit. If you can't, Lord of the Pit deals 7 damage to you. Right. And we have some tokens here. Now then, the card that I was referring to, of course, is one of the most popular black cards ever printed, except for Dark Ritual or Terror. I mean, of course, Demonic Tutor. Now, Demonic Tutor is a 2 mana sorcery. Search your library for a card and put that card into your hand. Then shuffle your library. There's no downside to it. This is just a great, great card. And they actually reprinted it and put it into this deck with a new piece of art, with the Liliana art on it. That was pretty insane. When I saw the deck list and I saw Demonic Tutor, I was like, wow. Did they really reprint that? And yes, they did. And finally, the decks that are left are Garruk versus Liliana. Both of them the original versions. The simple Garruk the Wild Speaker and of course Liliana Ves. So the only one who didn't make it in its original form, from the original 5 Planeswalkers, was Ajani. Ajani Goldmane. There was later on an Ajani versus Nicol Bolas deck, but that was a different Ajani. So, Garruk Wild Speaker, 4 mana, it's 3 loyalty. His +1 ability, untap 2 target lands. His -1 ability, put a 3/3 green beast creature token onto the battlefield. And -4, creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. I remember these 2 decks were also pretty great. I really liked playing them, especially the Basking Root Walla reprint. I really thought it was a funny include. Vine Trellis, oh, takes me back. This is from Acadian Masks, the set that I started playing. I really love this card. Wild Mongrel, yeah, great card as well. From the same set as Basking Rootwalla. Crozen Tusker, pretty popular card in Commander. Rancor 2 times, not too bad at all. Nature's Lore, very good. Invigorate, also very good. Harmonize. Yeah, these old decks, they are just, well, these old dual decks, they were actually useful. And they were quite popular back in the days. These days, if you compare them to the newest decks, Mind versus Magic, and the other one, no wait, Mind versus Might. And the other ones, the Geist of St. Truft and the other, yeah, they're just not that powerful anymore. These older decks, they are really worth it. So if you haven't got this box, or you haven't been able to buy any of these decks, go out and get the decks. They are great. They're really great. So the final deck features Liliana Vess. It's 5 mana, 5 loyalty. Her +1 ability, target player discards a card. The -2, search your library for a card, then shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. And -8, put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. Great. We have a Bad Moon. Mutilate. Oh, right, Mutilate was in here. Mutilate was such a great card as well, but I prefer the old art from Torment. Yeah. Sign in Blood. Vicious Hunger, not too bad. Snuff Out with the new art. Rise from the Grave. Corrupt. Oh, I loved playing Corrupt. So did my friends. Great card. And there you have it. All the reprints. Oh, I really love it. I love this box. These are the very first 4 decks that we got for the dual decks, and they are just simply great. They are really great. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, you get a booklet with some history, with a little bit of story behind the decks. Well, you can read that in your own time. Alright, thank you all for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.